everybody. Welcome to the podcast, the Project Investigation Collaboration, brought to you by the Veritas Project. And as always, we are here with our gracious host and founder of the Veritas Project, Robert Curtis.
That's me.
And I'm lead investigator Todd Boyer. Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome. So this week we're going to talk about demonic possession. And because Angie and Bob... the second half of our channel here is Angie and Bob doing movie reviews.
Yeah.
And they did a full month of demonic possession movies over Halloween, so they're doing podcasts on reviewing those movies.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? Let's take a deep dive into demonic possession.
Yeah.
You know, and
Exorcism
and
all
the whole 9
stuff.
yards, all that fun stuff. So, and we actually have a very famous one here locally, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you might have heard of it.
Yeah. Maybe, which I do have stories about that. Yeah. So we'll have rabbit holes when we get to that one. So anything going on in local news, in Bob news?
The weather's been awful.
Oh, the weather has been horrible. And cold and rainy and nasty.
Yeah, there was thunder snow last night.
Yeah, I heard the thunder. I didn't see any snow. I heard the thunder. But I just... got me a used laptop. Someone gave me a laptop.
Yay!
And then, so I have OBS and I have Audacity on it. So I can start doing my voiceover work. Nice. And maybe streaming some games or something. I've seen a few paranormal games out there that you and I could play.
Right.
But none of them have been decent yet.
Yeah.
So I've been looking. for something for us to play. So.
I had that Amnesia. You ever play that one? It's one of those, like, hiding and, like, the monster comes by.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, bro, I'm not a hiding in a closet person. You know what I mean? Especially when the monster is, like, 4 or 5 foot tall, maybe 75-pound dude. Like, I'm not hiding in a closet, dude. That's just not going to happen.
Just like we're not the dude run guys.
Right. I'm just going to stay in the middle of the room and...
Right.
What happens, my man. Yeah. I'm the monster. You're going to try it.
Now what?
You're going to try it, that's for certain.
Yeah. Oh, alrighty. Well, I guess we'll get started here, since we ain't got a whole lot else going on. Thank you, Kim. Just saw that. Bob got a heart me from Kim.
Yay.
If you're watching on TikTok, do us a favor and give us some tappity taps. We do appreciate it. So, let's get on with the demonic possessions. So, we have 3 demonic possession stories that we're going to talk about first, and then we'll kind of go into some details about possessions and the exorcisms and all that kind of good stuff. So, our first one is the possession of Anneliese Michael in 1976 in Germany. Now, this is one of the most infamous cases of alleged demonic possession, and it involves Anneliese Michael, a young woman from Germany. Anneliese began experiencing seizures and was diagnosed with temporal lobe epilepsy. Despite medical treatment, her condition worsened. She began to exhibit strange behaviors, including speaking in multiple voices, displaying aversion to religious objects, eating insects, and drinking her own urine, and describing visions of demons. And 2 priests... Arnold Renz and Ernest Alt conducted 67 exorcisms over 10 months. And Anneliese reportedly claimed to be possessed by 6 demons, including Lucifer, Judas, Iscariot, and Cain. She eventually died of malnutrition and dehydration at the age of 23. Now, the case led to a high-profile trial where her parents and the priest were convicted of negligent homicide, for the neglect. All right. So the second one we have looks like Smurfs.
That's what I thought too.
So it's actually the Smurl family, 1974 to 1987. Jack and Janet Smurl claimed their home in West Pittston, Pennsylvania, was the site of demonic activity for over a decade. Their terrifying experiences include foul odors and cold spots, invisible forces that physically assaulted family members. Jack reported being sexually assaulted by a demonic entity, and objects levitating and disembodied voices. Now, paranormal investigators, very famous, Ed and Lorraine Warren, were called in. The Warrens believed the family was under attack by a powerful demon. Despite multiple exorcisms, the phenomenon reportedly persisted for years. The story became the subject of the book, The Haunted, and a 1991 TV movie.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
That is number 2. And number 3, this one's right here at home.
Yeah.
So, this case actually inspired the Exorcist movie and books and all that stuff. And it happened right here in St. Louis.
Yep.
So Roland Doe in 1949, the case, like I said, inspired the movies and the books. And it began, Roland began to experience strange phenomenon after attempting to contact his deceased aunt through a Ouija board. Now, witnesses claim furniture moved on its own, objects flew across the room, and the boy would speak in unknown languages. Now, he displayed superhuman strength and had mysterious scratches on his body. And Jesuit priests performed weeks-long exorcism at a hospital in St. Louis, according to reports. And after the final rite, Roland returned to normal with no memory of the events. Excuse me. The case remained one of the most documented and controversial in the Catholic Church's history.
Yeah.
Now, something that a lot of people don't know, what was the hospital?
The Alexian Brothers Hospital.
Which no longer exists.
No. But there's a nursing home that took over the outer wing of the hospital that still exists.
Right.
And there's a part in the book where the father is walking with Roland on the cliffside, and he has like this epiphany, and that's what happens to the exorcism.
Right.
Is released, right? He finally is ready to fight the demons, and that Christ statue is still there.
Right on.
I mean, it's on the back side of the nursing home. If you go to that nursing home and you go to leave out the new exit, it's the weirdest thing because the road just like makes a perfect L shape. Because where they built the new road into the old road, and then as soon as you turn, that statue's right there.
Right. Also, what a lot of people don't know is he spent part of his time at Alexian Brothers Hospital, but he also spent part of his time at an insane asylum.
Yeah.
That insane asylum is now Section 8 apartments. I have been in that place. That place is haunted like crazy.
Yeah.
Actually, if you go back through one of my old videos, I actually walked through the basement of that place. That place feels like somebody's watching you at all times. Over the years, I have talked to different people in there, and we had one guy who, a long time ago, like 10, 15 years ago, they didn't have very much lighting in the basement. They just updated the lighting within the last 10 years. So you had to have flashlight. If you were going to the basement, you had to have flashlight. So he's going down there looking for what he's looking for, and he goes all the way to the back, and there's a rocking chair sitting there in the corner. And he's like, okay, I guess it's not back here. And he turns around, and as he turned around, his flashlight came across a little blonde boy, and he ran out, and he called dispatch and said, I don't care if you fire me, I will never go back in that building again. So that's the little blonde boy is kind of everywhere in that building. I talked to the security guards. The security guards talk about how there was a payphone that used to be in the front lobby, and the coin thing on it would just start going tikink, 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 tikink. Now, I have been in that building multiple times over the years, and I had 2 experiences in there myself. The first one, they have an old woman that haunts the 3rd floor.
Okay.
And I went up, and I had a clipboard in my hand, and I was trying to figure out what apartment I needed to go to. And I was looking at the worksheet, and I looked up, and I see this woman leaning out of a doorway looking at me. And I look back down on my worksheet, because I just kind of glanced up, and I'm like, okay. And I look back down, and something in my brain went, that's not right. There's something wrong with what you just saw.
Right.
And I looked back up, and she wasn't there. When I got down there, it was an empty trash room. So, and then the way the lights are in the hallway are really weird. They're huge, like 2 foot across, right? Domes. Okay. And they're on both sides of the hall. They're not on the ceiling, they're on the hall, on the walls. And when you walk down that hall, it casts multiple shadows. So as you're walking, it'll go voop, 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 voop.
Oh, I got you.
Right? So you'll see multiple shadows as you go by. So as I stepped out of the elevator, now the elevator sits back off the main hallway like 15, 20 feet. Maybe not even that far, maybe 10, 15. So I stepped out of the elevator and I see whoop, 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 right? And I walked up to the main hallway and made that turn expecting to see somebody in front of me. Hallway was empty. I was like, that's a little odd. I didn't hear a door close, anything. So, yeah, kind of wild. That was a wild one. So,
I have a story.
Go ahead.
A story about the Alexian Brothers Hospital.
There you
I don't
go.
know if you know there's a newer hospital in South City that took all the patients from the Alexian Brothers. It's just as old. And this guy was a maintenance guy, and he was letting me in to make a removal in the middle of the night. And we were talking about the Exorcist and stuff. And he's like, I used to work there at the Alexian Brothers Hospital. That's my first gig as a maintenance guy. And he said that he knew where that room was. It was like on the third floor in the back corner of the hospital. And they had put 4x4 blocks of wood inset into the door frames and screwed the door shut. Yeah. Because of all the stuff that would happen in that room. So they just segregated it. So the hallway ended where that room was. And he said they knew for years that the windows were busted out and they would just let it leak because they couldn't, nobody would go in there and replace it. Well, anyway, when he was a new guy, he took it upon himself working the late shift to replace the light bulbs going down the hallway because all the ones going towards that room were broken. You know, bulbs were out. So he took the little cover off with a screwdriver and set the screwdriver down on his ladder, and it fell off and rolled underneath the door. When he's like, damn it. And he heard this voice, and the voice goes, hey, Dave. And he's like, what? Who is that? So he turned around, and the screwdriver slid out from underneath the door, like somebody was
heck no.
Yeah. So he just jumped down off the ladder and just ran away. Yeah.
I'd be out.
And he had to gather every person that was working on night shift, everybody to come and watch, so that he could get the ladder and the light bulb back and go back downstairs.
For real. I mean.
He said that years later, they used to always joke about the screwdriver that was sitting in the floor at the end of the hallway.
I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't touch it.
He says, I'm not touching the devil's screwdriver. They could buy another screwdriver.
Sorry, guys. We're not seeing the chat very well.
Yeah.
So we apologize to the TikTokers. So.
Yeah, years later, I heard...
Robin sent a hat and a mustache. Who did it end up on? I didn't even see.
That to be you. I'm like half off. But years later, our local talk radio station does a thing on Halloween where they have like a event, and when they talk about it, the next week they have people call in and tell ghost stories, and that guy called in.
Really?
And told them that story, yeah. I was like, oh man, I remember that guy. That was crazy.
So I've been trying to get for years to let management let me come in and investigate the basement. I've been trying. They never get back to me. I've been trying.
They don't care.
It is what it is.
They're going to do their job and go home.
So, demonic possession is typically characterized by sudden behavioral changes and speaking unknown languages.
Glossolalia.
Wow. And an aversion to holy objects.
Yeah.
So, victims often display aggressive behavior towards religious figures. Usual vocal changes occur, such as deepening of the voice or multiple voices speaking at once, which is wild.
Yeah.
Some report seeing shadow figures or demonic entities, and victims may self-harm or display compulsive blasphemy. The possessed may develop an extreme sensitivity to light and sound. Now, the shadow figure thing, that's always a big thing in our thing. A big debate in the paranormal world: are shadow figures good? Are they bad? Are they neutral? Are they watchers? So that's kind of are they demons? What's going on with shadow figures? So there's always that debate that always takes place in the paranormal world. So,
yeah, I think that the shadow figure, if it is part of the demonic infestation, it's like the very beginning part of it, where you can't perceive the demon yet, but you can, your psyche is trying to tell you that there is something there. You know what I mean? So you might see a shadow or a shape, it depends.
So hi to everybody that's coming in. We're seeing you guys saying hi to us and stuff, and not catching it. So it's the phone's way over there.
Right.
It's hard to see.
To get the view, we have to have it way back.
Yeah, and then we're still scrunching to get in the boxes. So the Catholic Church has a formal rite of exorcism outlined in
the Roman ritual.
Yep, the Roman ritual. So the document was first established in 1614, revised in 1999. Now, the Latin exorcism prayers are considered more powerful than translations. And exorcisms are often performed in Latin, as the demons are believed to hate the language, because it was probably one of the original languages. The church considered exorcism sacramental, not a sacrament, and only trained priests can perform the ritual, not lay people.
Right.
So...
But Ed Warren used to claim that he was sanctioned by the church.
I don't know about that. We can debate that, that's
right.
for sure. So, let's see what else we got here. We got a lot of information here. Most exorcisms require authorization from a bishop before being performed. The bishop must determine if the case is legitimate or psychological. Exorcisms without permission are considered invalid by the church, and some exorcisms occur in complete secrecy to protect the identity of victim. The International Association of Exorcists helps bishops train new exorcists. Some priests have faced opposition from skeptics and scientists. Right. So that's one of the big things with that we always deal with as paranormal investigators is, people believe that like hard science and blah 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 blah, and there can't be anything else, and you know. It's got to be this. It's got to be that. It's got to be. Why can't it be unexplained?
Well, and you view it through the lens of your experience, right? Because like to Catholics, everything is a demon.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like the carpenter to a hammer, everything is a nail.
Right.
Right. To Catholics, literally everything that influences them is demonic. So like you smoke because of demon. You watch porn because of demons. You beat your kids because of demons. Like all of those, everything that's negative comes from a demon. So they're going to be the first ones to jump to that, that you're possessed instead of like you have a mental problem or something.
And signs of the possession include unnatural body contortions, levitation, superhuman strength. Some victims have been seen bending backwards unnaturally. What movie was that? Where the girl bent over and was walking.
Oh, and that was in the one we just did, the last exorcism.
So that one, like, terrified my ex-wife. Yeah. Like, she had nightmares about that after we saw that movie.
Yeah.
So.
And in the Exorcist too, in the director's cut, she walks backwards down the stairs on her hands.
Oh, you know what? That's probably what we saw, because that's what I remember seeing.
It was originally
down the stairs.
Yeah, the Criterion edition had that one in it, but in the VHS version, it wasn't in there.
Right. And others exhibit elongation of limbs or eye color changes. Levitation is considered rare, but cases have been reported. Victims sometimes exhibit knowledge of hidden sins of others, and physical injuries like scratches or burns may appear spontaneously. So, if you look at the movie with Keanu Reeves, where he performs Constantine, where he performs an exorcism, that's another good example of, of showing what an exorcist, what a demon inside somebody looks like.
Right.
So.
Oh yeah, and they do that ritual too, where they cast the demon into a mirror
and then
throw the mirror outside.
Yeah.
So that's how they did it in the Renaissance period. That was how exorcisms were done. Is that the mirrors? They trapped it in a mirror.
Sleep paralysis and mental illness. This can mimic signs of possession. Doctors often diagnose cases of psychosis or dissociative identity disorder. Sleep paralysis causes hallucinations, which some mistake for demonic attacks. Some skeptics argue possession is an extreme form of mass hysteria. Certain neurological disorders can cause sudden behavioral shifts, and the church typically requires a medical evaluation before performing an exorcism. Now, I personally suffer from sleep paralysis.
Oh.
I haven't in quite some time. It's about time for me to start, because it usually follows me. When I move, I usually get 3 or 4 good years, and then it starts happening.
Huh.
And then I move, I get 3 or 4 good years, and it starts happening. I haven't had one lately. I've felt things in my room, right? Like full on feels like a demon in my room. I've felt hellhound teeth around my neck. Like I've had some horrific sleep paralysis.
Oh man.
So, I mean, and it legit, that's what it feels like. It feels like there's somebody in the room with you. Like, I don't know how to explain away sleep paralysis, but it always seems like it is a horrific experience that somebody like absolutely horrible is in the room with me.
Wow.
So
don't want that.
No, it is not good because you can't move. I mean, you look around. Other than that, you can't move your body. You look around. I try to wake myself up or whatever, to tell myself to get up, and you'll feel somebody like right next to you, or it is not a fun thing for any stretch of the imagination. So Annalise Michaels' case influenced the horror film The Exorcism of Emily Rose. That was a 2005 movie. The real audio recordings were actually used as an inspiration for the film. Now, the movie portrays the exorcism from both scientific and spiritual perspectives, and Annalise reportedly saw visions of the Virgin Mary during her ordeal. The film was directed by Scott Derrickson, who specialized in horror films, and the case still sparks debate over faith versus science. So, that's the thing, is that, there's such a big debate on whether or not, somebody's having mental issues or if there is something outside influencing.
Yeah, exactly.
So...
But that could be, too, though, because some people have psychosomatic, problems in their mind, and that influences their physicality,
Right.
Like people get scared, their heart rate goes up,
Right.
You have adrenaline, your hair stands on end. Like those are physical responses to mental things, so
Right.
It can be.
Now, Pope Francis publicly supports exorcism and has personally performed the ritual. He reportedly performed an informal exorcism in St. Peter's Square in 2013. He encourages priests to take demonic activity seriously. The Vatican officials have confirmed the Pope believes in spiritual warfare. He has warned about the dangers of dabbling in the occult. He once said, "Satan is real and must be resisted." So, here's my thing with that, right? This sends us down another rabbit hole. We've had the discussion before where they had, 50 miles of books in the Vatican?
Yeah.
So what does the Pope know? You know what I mean? What's in those books?
Yeah. A lot of history that they don't share with everybody else.
Exactly. So it's like, what's going on here, right?
Here comes a good one.
So, there are exorcism training programs for priests in Rome overseen by the Vatican. The Pontifical Athenaeum Regina Apostolorum, that's a mouthful and a half, offers courses on exorcism. Now, priests are trained to discern between possession and mental illness. Exorcism courses include study on demonology and spiritual warfare, and the Vatican hosts an annual exorcism conference, and some priests specialize in minor exorcism for spiritual disturbances. Now, which was it that you took through the Vatican?
It was the weekend one, so it was the minor exorcism. So
you took the minor exorcism course through the Vatican.
Yeah.
So that's pretty wild.
I still have my course books up there somewhere.
Do you really?
Yeah.
They ship them out to
There
you?
was some tenants, yeah. They send you
awesome.
this package, and it has all the stuff in it, all the books and all of the literature that you're going to need, because it was a lot.
That's going on the shelves.
Yeah.
That's going on the shelves.
Right.
Once we get, I think we decided that, so when we moved to the new studio, we're going to actually have actual bookcases behind us with all Bob's books and stuff. And then we're going to have a gap between the two bookshelves. And Bob has a really nice wooden logo sign, I believe. Didn't Angie buy that for you for Christmas or something?
Yep.
And it's about what? About a 14 inches, 18 inches? Yeah, it's good size. So that'll actually go between the bookshelves behind us. And there'll be nice light shining on it. Yeah, we'll look all professional and stuff. So we'll get all that good stuff up there.
Speaking of books, I got a copy of the Book of Oberon, which I have been looking for a long time.
How'd you find that?
I lucked into it because I've had a saved search on A-Libris, like the book reseller, for years and years, and finally one came up for sale that was not, $800 or whatever.
Really?
Yeah. So it was only $60, which is the retail value of the first
printing,
like GoFundMe type,
right?
Whatever they call it.
Now, what is the Book of Oberon for the lay people?
It's an original manuscript from 1522, and it's the only the only manuscript in existence that is a how-to manual for how to work magic. Every other book, like the Key of Solomon and all that, they're all full of codes, or they're incomplete, or they're written by somebody else who knew of it. But this is the actual book. And the cool thing about this version of the Book of Oberon is, the one that I have, is it has the red text in it, which the other printings don't. So what happened was, over the years, the book got damaged. And at some point, someone tore all of the sigils out of it. And then they thought that the sigils were lost. And then the book was sold to Houdini. It was in Houdini's collection. So when Houdini's family were liquidating all of the rest of his books, they had files that were full of loose papers, and all of those sigils were still in the files.
Oh, nice.
So the book was originally printed, it was brown paper with red ink on it, and then black ink for the script, but all the workings were in red ink. So the book that I got is, I forget what number it is, but they're all each one is hand numbered.
Nice.
And there was only 1,000 of them printed. Now I have one for my collection.
Right on.
So it is legit to see real magic sigils, not like something from like a Cthulhu book or whatever, woo-woo stuff. This is legit real stuff from 1522. So
that's wild.
I'm excited to have it in my collection. It'll be on the shelf.
And that's what's it's funny is like, so I used to play a game called Shadowrun. And the year's like 2032 or something like that, or 2050. And magic is returning to the earth because every energy we know works in waves. So magic works in waves. It's just really long waves. So back when there were elves and all that stuff a long time ago, magic was high. The wave went down, magic got real low, and then magic started coming back. So people started turning into elves and trolls and ogres and all that kind of stuff. Dragons returned. People started doing magic.
Nice.
So I believe that maybe magic will return one day. Because I like that theory. I dig that theory.
Yeah.
So maybe magic will return one day.
I hope so. I got a manual on how to do it now.
Yeah, right on. So demons allegedly reveal personal information about those present during exorcism. Some exorcists claim demons mock their sins, and victims may know intimate details about strangers. Demons sometimes blaspheme God and the saints, and some cases involve threats and violent outbursts. Now, exorcists often use the name of Jesus to force demons into submission. So that is a big one, using the name of Jesus. So, exorcisms may last hours, days, or even years, depending on the severity of the case. Some cases require multiple sessions to fully expel the demon. Annalise Michael's exorcism took 10 months and 67 sessions. The 1949 Roland Doe exorcism lasted over 6 weeks, and cases involving multiple entities are harder to resolve. In severe cases, the possession may lose conscious awareness. So, like the Roland Doe, he didn't remember any of it. And one of the big power things for an exorcism is trying to figure out the name of the demon, because name has power. And if you can call them out by name, you can cast them out according to how it works. So, holy water, crucifixes, and prayers are essential tools during exorcism. Now, blessed salt is sometimes sprinkled in the room for protection. The St. Benedict medal is a common exorcism item, and the rite of exorcism includes prayers to St. Michael, the Archangel, and holy water is believed to burn demons upon contact. Some exorcists wear special vestments for protection. You know how you make holy water?
Boil
the hell out of it.
That's a Dale joke. He says that all the time.
That is a very old joke.
My boss says that all the time.
So, to get a consecrated item, technically you have to bury it in consecrated ground. So, which would be like a churchyard or, something like that. So, if you use consecrated items in your exorcism rituals. Now, in 2014, the Vatican officially recognized the International Association of Exorcists. The group consisted of over 400 exorcists worldwide. It was founded by Father Gabriel Amorth, A-M-O-R-T-H, the Vatican's chief exorcist. And the association works to train new exorcists. They hold conferences to share case studies and methods, and the group promotes awareness of demonic activity. Now, how did you come across that the thing that you did, the course that you did.
The guy who was the head of the Catholic Nicolaitan Church, he had 2 places set up for him and his whatever his bishop was, and the guy couldn't go. So I asked him, like, hey, I'll go. I got a computer. I can do computer stuff.
Right on.
So I went in his place. Basically, it was like a Zoom meeting, where you were in like a classroom with a whole bunch of people online. I can't afford to fly to no Italy.
Right.
I can't fly to no Italy, man.
Can't fly to no Italy. Now, some non-Catholic religions also practice exorcism rites. In Islam, exorcisms involved reading Quranic verses. In Judaism, Kabbalistic rabbis perform exorcisms. Some Protestant churches conduct deliverance ministries, and Hindu priests use mantras to expel spirits. Exorcism rituals vary greatly by culture and religion. Mm-hmm. That's kind of wild that, a lot of the things that you and I talk about and notice is the fact that many different cultures from many different time periods and many different places around the world all have the same stuff.
Right. And it's weird that in different languages and different times, the same thing shows up in a lot of different things.
Before these civilizations were talking to each other, this was going on. So you have a lot of that, in a lot of the things that you and I talk about, so.
Yeah.
Successful exorcism typically ends when possessing entity identifies itself and leaves. Some demons resist revealing their names. Exorcists use the phrase, "I command you in Jesus' name." The possessed may enter a trance-like state before expulsion, and the final moments can be violent or peaceful. Some exorcists use binding prayers to prevent the demon's return. There are documented audio recordings of exorcisms, including those from the Annalise Michael case. The tapes reveal deep guttural voices. Screams and violent outbursts are common. The recordings have been analyzed for paranormal evidence, and some skeptics claim the voices are self-induced. The audio is available online, but disturbing to listen to. I may have to go down a rabbit hole.
I've heard it before.
Have you?
Yeah, at the end of that, the Possession, whatever that movie was, that they were talking about Annalise Michael, they play the tapes at the end of it.
Right on.
So you can hear it.
Alrighty.
Yep.
So there we are. Demonic possessions in the nutshell. So that's a little breakdown of, a little bit of history, a little bit of how-to,
Yeah. How I do it is whenever I've heard multiple claims of people who call us in because they've gotten demon, and I have I won't tell you because then it ruins it, but I have a thing that I keep in my pocket that is known only to me, and I'll ask them what it is, and they're wrong 100% of the time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So until somebody can pass that test, they're not getting a call to the Vatican.
Right.
That's one of the things that they told us in that class, is to find something that has like a deeply meaningful thing to you, and then don't ever share it with anybody else.
Right.
And then you keep that like in a velvet bag or keep it somewhere and put it in your pocket. And then when you're having the interview, you just ask them straight out. Like, I have something that means a lot to me in my pocket. What is it? And some extravagant thing they always say, but it's never even in the ballpark of what it is. So,
right on. Did we show off your hat last week? I think you did wear it last week, didn't you?
I was wearing it when I edited the thing.
Oh, did you? So Bob got him a new hat. We got Bob a hat for.
You gotta see.
We found it at the thrift store. It is the Veritas Project colors there.
Yeah.
And so Bob can wear that for investigations. So. Put one of his logos on there.
Yeah.
So
branding.
So, thank you for joining us, everybody. For you guys new that are watching on TikTok, if you go to Project Investigation Collaboration, that's how you find us on YouTube and the Veritas Project. But it's easier if you do Project Investigation Collaboration. It'll take you right to a video.
Doesn't show up.
So
somebody's squatting on our trademark.
Yep. So also make sure you follow Bob here if you're on TikTok. If you're on YouTube, like, comment, share. Ring the notification bell.
I post the shorts onto our TikTok, so all the shorts come through here.
Yep. I did notice somebody saw part of our Jack the Ripper and was asking, where do I see this whole thing?
Angie replied to it.
I saw Angie reply to it. That was awesome. So I was like, that is great. Maybe got another follower for that. So, thank you for all the likes, taps, comments, shares on TikTok. Don't forget Patreon members, which we need to sign Kim's postcard tonight before we go.
Yeah.
So we can get that mailed out to her. What are we about? Somebody just asked what we're about. We are a paranormal investigation group out of St. Louis, and we just recorded our podcast on demonic possession.
Yep, that'll be up
that'll be
on the YouTubes
on
Monday.
The YouTubes on Monday, which Bob will go live 9 a.m. Monday morning, right here on TikTok, and I will join him and we'll chit chat as he edits the podcast.
Yep.
We've been doing this podcast for it's almost a year and a half now.
Yeah.
We have hundreds of videos online. Also, if you like the scary movies, we also have another podcast on the channel, which is Bob and Angie. And they review scary movies.
Yeah, it's fun.
So it's good stuff if you like both that stuff. Don't forget, if you want merch, go to Teespring. We still are really hitting it hard to get rid of Teespring, though. Yeah,
the easiest way that I've found to get onto Teespring is to go to our YouTube channel.
And there's a link.
And there's a link in the description of our videos. That's like the only way to get there because it's such an unbelievably nightmarish interface.
Right.
Like there's
it's
no
horrible.
search.
And you were just saying Angie tried to find us non-using the link, and she almost couldn't do it.
And it was almost impossible.
So we got to find a new T-shirt company.
It's awful.
Patreon.
Patreon.
Join us on Patreon. If you join us and become a $5 member, Angie creates postcards every month. In fact, I think she's already up to like August. She's got them all created all the way up to August. And then every month we sign a postcard and send you out a brand new postcard. They're really cool.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
This month was Sasquatch dressed like Cupid.
Yeah.
So, and those are, maybe someday if we get famous, you can be like, hey, look, I got this. Yeah. Don't forget, August 11th, guys. August 11th is our second annual meet and greet at the Lemp Mansion in St. Louis.
Yep.
It is an overnight investigation in one of the top 20 most haunted places in America. And for the people who came last year, you can attest to how awesome that place is. If you are new to the paranormal and want to go someplace that's like legit, is haunted, that things are going to happen, go there.
Yeah.
You will absolutely see things, and for sure, it will definitely.
If you have one of those friends that's like super skeptic, and they're like,
bring them
along.
They won't be a skeptic anymore.
Once they hear the spirit box say their name.
Yeah.
Or something super close.
Or answer me from 3 floors away.
Yeah.
I'll ask a question and it'll answer from 3 floors away. That's wild.
Yeah.
Also, the morning of, we go to the Cahokia Mountains, which is one of the lost civilizations.
Yep.
A lot of people don't know about it. It's right here outside of St. Louis. They just up and freaking vanished. And they were doing trades as far south as the Gulf of Mexico.
Yep.
So, they found beads from the shells in the Gulf of Mexico up here. And they just, gone. Just disappeared. Have a big step pyramid that they built and everything.
Yeah.
They just vanished.
Just like the Aztecs.
Yep.
Just like the Incas. Just like all these other cultures that disappeared. Only it's right here in our backyard.
Yep. Like literally used to be in backyards.
Yeah.
Bob used to go sledding on those, mounds.
Back when I was little, they didn't have any respect for that site. So you could
literally streets were in there.
Yep.
So they
I'll show you where.
But now they moved everything out, and now it's a park.
Yeah, it's a World Heritage Site now.
Yep. So then also after that, we'll go get some lunch at an amazing restaurant, at an amazing Mexican place. They have all-you-can-eat buffet. And I eat all I can eat, let me tell you. Especially the corn stuff. That stuff is awesome.
The corn, what was that, corn cake? That stuff is fantastic.
Yep. Let's see. We covered Patreon. We covered... Also, if you guys have a story, we want to hear your story. Send us a message on TikTok. Send us an email. Our emails appear at the back of the YouTube videos, or... Bob is the Real Veritas Project, all one word, at gmail.com. And I'm investigator.todd.paranormal@gmail.com. Send us a story. We'll turn it into a podcast. We'll go through it. We'll talk about it. Get as detailed as you can possibly get. Let's see. Is there anything else you can think of? Oh, follow all Bob's socials, R.S. Curtis and the Real Veritas Project on everything. I'm Investigator Todd on everything. Instagram, all that good stuff. Yeah. Bob's really, really hitting it hard with our shorts here. He's putting out a couple a day. Yeah. So we're trying to get that traffic up. Go back and watch some of the old podcasts. There's some fantastic stuff in there. We're always trying to come up with something new. So
I mean, it seems like it's cyclical, where we do a video and then like a year later that
video takes off.
Is in the news, and then people start finding it again. Like our Bouvet Island episode.
We did Bouvet Island like 6 months, and then like all of a sudden Bouvet Island became a thing. Yeah. And that 6-month-old podcast that we did started blowing up. Yeah. It's just it's crazy. And also our very first podcast where we talked about the
Peruvian aliens.
The Peruvian aliens. Yeah. Literally our first podcast was in October. That following summer, it blew up.
It blew up everywhere. People are like, "Did you hear about those aliens in Peru?" Like, did you?
Yeah, where you been? We knew about it a year ago.
I laid everything out on this. I talked about all the connections with all the other sightings, and we did the whole thing. Like, it's all there. And that was back in the day when all we had was a microphone and the.
Yeah, we didn't even have a camera back then. We just had 2 microphones and a soundboard. That was it. And not a very good soundboard at that.
And it had a hum in it the whole time. But we were doing it.
But,
we were getting it out there. We had 9-month jump on the media.
Yep. So, well, I guess that'll do it. I think that's, we talked about everything.
Yeah.
So, thank you for joining us, guys. Don't forget Monday, Bob Live, Monday morning, 9 a.m.
Yeah.
We'll join in there for the edit. Thanks for joining us, everybody, on TikTok. And we appreciate each and every one of you. And remember,
stay curious
and find the truth, and we'll catch you next time. Bye, everybody.
See ya.